When I use my 10-inch straight edge and I come up here, look at the displacement here. There is so much displacement at this neck to body junction. As these frets stand right now, I mean, this is almost like a brand new guitar. We're already down to about 38 thou. If I make that much of a correction, there'll be no frets left from here to here. And I know it's kind of heartbreaking for the customer to hear this. So here's what happens. When there is that much of a hump where the neck joins the body, the only recourse you have is to raise the strings up until they clear. And that just throws the intonation right out the window. So we're going to remove the frets, correct the fingerboard, complete refret, and then we'll be in the driver's seat. Well, let's get started. Well, it's a little wider tang. I have a wider tang fret wire. Yeah, that's a 37 thou tang, very thick. Luckily I have the fret wire that will fit that kerf. Now it's interesting because his Martin guitar was the same, and I guess a lot of the manufacturers now have gone to this where the fret slots are cut with a CNC and they stop just shy of the edge. And that gives you a beautiful finish because it's not through cut. It looks like it'd be through cut, but it's not. Interesting. All right, so let's get on with our correction. I'm looking at the depth of that slot versus the depth of a tang, and we do not have a lot to play with. Like that Martin guitar, because we need to take so much off here, I'm going to need to deepen that slot, but I'll have to drop in with the Japanese saw and pull back and then do the same on this side, in order to get enough depth after we do the leveling to be able to install those new frets. Well, it looks like these all need to be tightened up too. See that? Again, very careful, don't strip them. So the criteria here is to stop that washer from rattling. So now they're all tight. You can see where the light seeps underneath that straight edge. It's touching here, it's touching here, and it's touching here. With that load on the truss rod, I am going to straighten this neck out 100%, and we'll come back and have another look. Well, we got our plastic injection molded nut out, super clean. Now we'll get on with correcting that fingerboard. Now you can see that slurry of super glue there. I heated that up for 4 minutes with a hair dryer, as I always do. Doesn't come out any cleaner than that. I put a couple extra washers against the strike plate to buy back a few more threads of adjustment. This is after the first pass with the sanding blocks. So we took care of the high spot here and the high spot here, and you can see how much fall off there is here. So our next step is to use a longer sanding block and work this down until that light disappears. That's much better. You can see we've got contact all the way along, and it just starts to drop off 4 frets back from the end of the fingerboard, and now it's just the top 3 frets that have that fall off. Now we're ready to put the frets in. I took a tracing off the end of the fingerboard to get a match so that we have a consistent radius across the width of the fingerboard end to end. So I've installed my pilot frets, the 3rd in this case and 13th, and I just slide that up to the bridge just to verify that neck angle, kind of hop up onto that original saddle and then check the action, and it is perfect. Now we'll get the rest of the frets in. So now that the new frets are in and the fingerboard has been corrected, when I put that straight edge up, we got 100% contact right up to the second last fret. So the last fret is the only one that has fall off. So right here now at the neck junction, when we had that 38 thou fret, well, we got 51 thou. So in other words, the customer, John, will be able to hand this down to his grandkids. There's enough fret on there to do multiple fret dresses. Well, here's the read that I'm getting right now with the 7th to 19th fret notes. The high E, is a left-handed guitar, is 4 cents sharp, and it looks like we might be able to squeeze that out. The B is perfectly in tune. So the G is 4 cents flat, which means it's got to come forward, and you could almost squeeze out those top 3 to make them work. But the D is 12 cents flat, and it's right at the leading edge. That's not going to happen. We're going to need to cantilever slightly. The A string is 5 cents flat, and it looks like there's probably enough there to bring that one forward. The low E is 4 cents sharp, and between lowering it a little bit and bringing it back, we're good. It's the D string that's hanging us up. So we're going to go ahead, make a new saddle, and line this up 100%. So this is what we ended up with at the bridge to get all 6 strings to line up perfectly. So I replaced those plastic bridge pins with the bone with the abalone dot. And this is the polished bone compensated nut, 12 to 53 at concert pitch. The action is now silky smooth and no more rocking and rolling at the neck joint. We got this thing laser straight from the 1st fret right up to the 2nd last, just a tiniest little bit of fall off on the last fret. This guitar is good for decades to come. Well, the one thing you can guarantee about these input jacks is they are guaranteed to loosen off. When this guitar came in, this cuff was actually put on in reverse and the whole thing was jiggling loose and there was a nut missing. I wrap it with a strip of leather and then gently grab it with the vice grips and tighten it up, and that will not come loose now. The other reason it will not come loose is because, and I do this routinely, I put a separate strap button so that this should never be used for your strap. You put your strap on here, plug in, your cord comes out, it loops over this strap button, and then that acts as a strain relief, so that if you or someone else accidentally steps on the cord, the jack never gets a hit. So as I give you the wrap up on this guitar, this was the other strap button that John asked me to put on. I put it here routinely. So this is a left-handed guitar, so this is the underside of the neck when you're playing it. The strap hooks on there where the dovetail fits into the block. That flat portion of the heel is about the strongest place you could put a strap button. He can hook it on there. It will never loosen up. It will be good for many years to come. So before we do the final tuning check, I just wanted to show you our compensated nut and the final look at our cantilevered compensated saddle, and the new replacement bone bridge pins. With the original frets, original bridge pins, original saddle, and original nut in these little Ziploc baggies. I'll toss those in the string compartment in the case. I do have my mutes in here, and I do have it plugged in because there's traffic going by on the street and the tuner's kind of jumping around to that. As I stated earlier in the video, it was the D string that gave us the most grief. The high E also had to go beyond the confines of the original slot in the bridge. The B ended up almost dead center. The G is still within the confines of that original slot. The A is just on the edge, and the low E is to the very back edge. There's no way that original saddle was going to work. I've been the voice in the wilderness on this for years. You got a J45 at home, you can always try doing that tuning test on your own guitar. See for yourself, or rather hear for yourself. Well, I will bring this gorgeous J45 into the house and make a feeble attempt at playing a left-handed guitar, just so I can play a few chords and you can hear it. Obviously the customer is proficient at playing left-handed, that's all he's ever done. I'll try and coerce him into making a video for us so we can really hear this thing. Into the studio. So the most common question that is asked and comes up time and time again across the entire guitar industry is, why doesn't my guitar stay in tune? And the real question to ask is, was your guitar ever in tune to begin with? Well, here goes my best shot at playing upside down left-handed. So I'll just start with an A chord. Next one. And next one. There's a B chord. And here's our C chord. Move that up 2 frets. And then move it up to the G position. So. D. E. Boy, this is a real sobriety test. And then lastly, F. And then here. And then here. And here's our G. And this G. I'm trying to kind of find something that might sound a little more musical, but playing upside down left-handed is that's a bit beyond my capabilities. So here's an upside down A minor 9 chord. D minor 9. And E minor 9. I know that's not too exciting to listen to, but hopefully the customer will put together a little video and send it back. That would be awesome. So our quick wrap up. There's our compensated nut, our compensated bridge saddle, and the bone pins with the abalone dots, and of course a complete refret, and all the fingerboard correction has been made. And our strap button to eliminate the use of the input jack for a strap, so that input jack will never be used for a strap. And that's our other strap button that the customer asked me to put on. I really wish I could play more for you, but that's about it for this baby. You know, it really is a magnificent guitar. It's got one little case wound there, but other than that, it's in mint condition.